Hello. I used to be a horrible reader growing up as a kid. My mind would trail off mid page, most of the time mid paragraph, and I'm sure most people can relate to that. Like going through school and having a sign reading, it was not good. I vividly remember having a project. I just flat out didn't read the book, but we had a oral presentation to do, and I had one little note card, and finally, I think I kind of summarized the first chapter, and I just admitted I didn't read the book, and I failed that project. And this continued mostly through high school. The only thing that saved me in my SAT scores was my math grade, because math came easily to me. But there was a one little glimmer of hope in high school. It's actually an assigned reading, and it was Starship Troopers, and that was probably the first sci-fi book I read as a kind of coming up adult, and I read more. I read that book fairly quickly by my standards, so that was kind of like, I wonder why. And then, as far as school was concerned, that kind of continued in college. I was only reading what I was told to read. I read slowly, whether it was assigned reading or stuff for school directly. Um, I, after college, got into fiction, and I already liked the movies, but like Lord of the Rings, a uh, Halo Reach, the story of Halo Reach, the book, and other things, and those were nice, but it was, you know, I had no reason to finish it. I think it took me like a year to finish the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but then it came to health, fitness, nutrition, whatever you want to call it. Those books I was reading in a weekend, and I'm talking about like 2 days. The only reason I stopped and I didn't do it in one day is because I had to go to bed. So why? And I think it's a reason that I think a lot of people struggle in college, and then they deem themselves bad learners or bad readers, and which is very unfortunate, because the best way humans learn, it's kind of two things. One, you learn for survival. Like, we're not under environmental threat as much anymore, but um, when you have something coming up in your life, or something that you need to learn quickly in order to do something like a new job, learning how to sleep train your children, like I went through. But you have this kind of like, your brain is primed to learn in that moment because it's directly affecting you. And you learn best what you're interested in, right? Like, everybody has interests. So you need to think like, what have I learned quickly, or what do I read quickly, and why? Mostly because you like it, all right? I kind of went through that. Like, I had the fiction, I like the health and nutrition and all that. And then it makes it to where, in general, you become a faster reader because you started out with getting used to reading in general with what you like, and now you can apply that to other stuff. So, in my case, it was a lot of, I just wanted to be stronger, wanted to be leaner, and I had injuries. So instead of, I had, I think everybody goes through like physical therapy, especially with high school, because we had the trainers right there. But after that, it's like, well, why is this still happening, and how can I prevent it? And then that's up to you, right? You go see a doctor like once a year, go to a physical therapist. That lasts like 6 to 8 months. But why not learn more about yourself to prevent things from happening in the first place, or to recover on your own? So you need to have this framework around anything you learn. I'm going to apply this to health because that's why we're here, right? Strength training. Um, Again, I want you to think like, what do you like? What do you gravitate towards, and what did you learn in the past quickly? That should give you a sign as to your interests, or, you know, be eye opening as far as, oh, I learn better when I'm under pressure, when I have to. So here's some steps. The first one, we're talking about the gym now. You have to understand that your health is not a subject that you get to ignore, right? It's not like, you know, I'm not a mechanic by any stretch of the imagination, but if we have an issue with our car, we just take it to the dealership. If I have a issue with, like I'm sure people with computers, you just buy a new one. Or some people don't even have it, they just have their smartphone, right? Everybody has a body though, right? That's not something you can ignore. You could, but then there will be a point in time when your health will catch up to you. Like if you have no idea what you're doing, you just sit for 16 hours a day, eat potato chips and ice cream, something's going to happen. But if you take that same person, even if all they did was like watch like 2 YouTube videos and they learned something, but at some point they're going to have to figure it out. You may have a conversation with the doctor and they'll at least say, hey, you need to lose 50 pounds. But then they're done. Their job is done. Now it's up to you. And where do you start? Because I was that person scrolling YouTube and every other video was conflicting itself. Like just talk about nutrition and fitness. You got like, people are like, this is how you train science-based. And then people are like, well, no, you don't need that. Or you don't need to lift weights. Or you need to do body weight only. Or training and one plane is not smart. Like all this conflicting stuff. I want you to just start with what your current problems are. I would say goals, but goals are formulated from the problems you have, right? Like if you're overweight, that's your problem. Now your goal is to lose weight. And now after you have that, you need to find credible, ideally long form sources of information. I am not going to bash any social media, but things like TikTok and Instagram and maybe Twitter, there are fitness people out there and they are doing their best to draw you in. Okay, that's a key distinction. Draw you in, not fully educate you with the short form content, right? So it is fine if you go to someone's fitness thingy and you watch a reel, maybe it's like a minute long. I don't know how long they could even be. And that's fine, but you need to condition yourself to get the full story, okay? Like for example, I remember watching videos on Kinobody. If you don't know who he is, his name is Gregor Gallagher. He's all about mostly training men to look good. There's intermittent fasting, you track your calories, eat meat and potatoes, you get a V taper, right? I was like, okay, well this guy, he's all over YouTube and he's kind of annoying. But I read his book and I connected, or I didn't have this problem myself, but he talked about how he used to binge eat a lot and he discovered his system kind of on accident. Like he went on vacation and figured out a way to actually enjoy himself instead of starving himself. And then that little story, it connects you to the person, one, and then you get more detail into his steps. Because he can lay out his steps in like a 5-minute video. But it's like your brain needs to slow down and get the full story, okay? So it's like long form YouTube videos, podcasts, maybe, I guess. Books are a good one because you can rate by review. But be a student. Like slow your brain down, get the full story, and even if you get like one book, you actually follow it for 12 weeks, that's huge. Okay, not a lot of people have the patience to do that. One, read the book, and two, stick with one thing for a long period of time. So gathering the information and then stick with the plan. Okay, I just said 12 weeks. Like you could lose weight you could lose weight in a day if you just don't eat, honestly. But you could make changes in like a month or two, or like 90 days. I guess 90 days is 12 weeks, but that's a long time. I don't want you to think I need to do this as fast as possible in like 30 days. This needs to be a life change. So if it takes 12 weeks, if it takes 6 months, I read a book and it was like, give this 6 months. You need to change your life, right? You're going to be living longer than you think you will, but they're going to be around for a while. So take your time and play the long game. So follow the plan. And then the last step is to iterate. And that means after you've given it a fair shot, if you hit a sticking point, or if things are not working, or if you get bored, but you've made progress and you're like, well, I just want to switch things up. Go ahead and do it, right? Especially if things aren't working. This is a you experiment. So iterate and try stuff. And that's it. Now I kind of titled this Becoming a Health Expert, but it's an expert for yourself, because only you know yourself. Even if you, like, the highest level of someone helping you, I just talked about books, but it's like a personal trainer. Now that's kind of like that person has their way of doing things, but now they get to apply it directly to you in your situation. But now you get to just jump to the end and say, how can I apply something to me in my situation? That's on you, okay? So if you are struggling, learn about how to solve it. Like, we're in the age of the internet. You really have no excuse. I just want people to, really slow down. And I think most people just don't know. Like, they have something deep inside and they're like, well, I want to make a change, but they just don't know what to do. I'm just like, well, the information's out there somewhere. Like, we need to talk about dopamine detoxing so you're not scrolling on your phone at night and instead you're reading about how to, like, fix your life. I don't know what to tell you. All right, so that's it. That's kind of why I read so much in this field, because I like it and I've had my own problems. So apply that to yourself. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you have questions, comment, like, do all the YouTube stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.